In the middle of the night, a deafening boom echoes through the cabin. The entire boat shudders violently as icy seawater rushes in, pouring through a massive hole violently ripped in the hull. The sailor below deck is Stephen Callahan, a 29-year-old experienced navigator who designed and built this yacht, Napoleon Solo, with his own two hands. He rushes on deck to pump the water and patch the breach. The damage is catastrophic. Within minutes, the Atlantic swallows the ship, taking all his heavy survival equipment and advanced navigation tools down with it. All he manages to salvage is a handful of basic supplies and a single, fragile orange raft, no larger than a dining room table. In a matter of minutes, a peaceful, solitary journey toward the Caribbean becomes absolute, terrifying vulnerability on the open ocean. At first, logic dictates that he will be found quickly. Modern commercial shipping lanes heavily cross the Atlantic, and international search and rescue grids are highly trained to spot emergencies. But human logistics mean very little against the sheer physical scale of the Atlantic. 1 day passes, then 3 days, then a week. He watches the skies and scans the horizon, but no helicopters appear. No ships come to answer his distress signals. He is completely alone. He can no longer wait for a rescue protocol. He has to secure his own survival. The open ocean is effectively a saltwater desert. Without fresh water, the human body begins to shut down within days, as salt intake accelerates dehydration and forces the organs to fail. This diagram demonstrates the mechanics of his solar stills. By harnessing direct sunlight to evaporate saltwater, the still leaves the salt behind, allowing a few vital drops of clean condensation to drip into a reservoir. With a slow trickle of water secured, he dismantles pieces of his broken equipment to weave makeshift fishing lines, shifting from passive waiting to active hunting. He manages to spear passing marine life, securing heavy caloric meals, like these large mahi-mahi, to replenish his rapidly depleting energy. Sometimes nature provides accidental harvests. In the darkness, highly active flying fish occasionally launch themselves directly over the inflated walls and into his lap. Securing a few calories and a few sips of water halts his immediate biological decline, buying him just enough time to face the mechanical threats of the ocean. The surface environment is merciless. The tropical sun burns his skin raw until it blisters and peeling, and the constant exposure to salt water deeply infects his open wounds. The friction of the waves creates a much higher stakes mechanical problem. The rubber raft begins to deteriorate, developing tiny, persistent leaks along its seams. An inflatable shelter relies entirely on trapped air pressure. Even a microscopic hole compromises the structure. If it deflates, he dies. He is forced into a frantic, chaotic routine of maintenance, desperately applying patches to deflating rubber while towering swells toss him violently through the dark. Caloric intake and hydration mean nothing if the vessel fails. His life is entirely dependent on his ability to perform delicate mechanical repairs under extreme duress. As weeks drag on, an invisible threat sets in: utter isolation and the unbroken, maddening silence of the deep ocean. Several times, massive commercial ships crest the horizon. He frantically fires signal flares and waves desperately, only to watch the heavy freighter sail straight past, completely blind to a tiny speck in the water. To defend himself against psychological collapse, he engineers a rigid daily routine. He logs detailed observations, tracks weather patterns, and meticulously measures his water production. He also changes how he views the marine life circling below him. Rather than fearing the sharks and dolphins, he studies their habits to read the changing currents. By imposing artificial structure on his days and treating the ocean as a teacher, he protects his mind from hopelessness. By day 76, his physical condition is critical. He has lost nearly a third of his body weight, his muscles are severely atrophied, and his supplies are entirely exhausted. Then the environment changes. The water shifts from a dark blue to a vibrant green. Floating plants drift past, and seabirds circle overhead, classic indicators of shallow water and approaching land. Just off the coast of the Caribbean island of Guadeloupe, local fishermen spot something strange floating in the current. They steer their boat closer, expecting to haul in discarded ocean debris. Instead, they find an emaciated, heavily sunburned man, barely able to stand. Stephen Callahan is finally pulled from the water, completing one of the longest documented solo survival ordeals ever recorded at sea. Survival at this scale is a matter of technical problem-solving rather than raw physical strength. Callahan managed his 76-day ordeal by focusing exclusively on a sequence of single, immediate tasks. One more patch, one more successful catch, one more cup of water. Focusing strictly on the immediate task ahead prevented his mind from buckling under the weight of the endless horizon. Extreme endurance relies on a simple, defiant choice. You look at the problem directly in front of you, you solve it, and you keep going.